All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're talking all about those headlines you've probably seen about single women dominating the housing market.
Yeah, you know the ones I'm talking about.
Are single women really calling all the shots?
Yeah, are they really ruling the housing market?
Well, to uncover the truth behind these attention-grabbing headlines, we're taking a deep dive into some really interesting data analyzed by the Pew Research Center from the U.S. Census Bureau.
Then
We'll be separating fact from fiction, busting some myths along the way, and hopefully leaving you with some food for thought about the real reasons.
yeah.
In the data skies, we take our flight. Trends and numbers come to life. Colors and charts, they dance and play. Showing truth in a visual way. In GenderDecoded, we uncover truths and stories like no other. In the data waves we find the secret maps of humankind.
It's true that single women own most of the homes owned by unmarried Americans.
Okay. Yeah, that tracks with what we hear all the time.
But that gap is actually shrinking.
Oh, that is interesting.
What we found fascinating is how much this is tied to demographics
Yeah,
and just like overall societal shifts.
interesting.
So let's break this down a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
First, give us like the hard numbers.
Okay.
What's the current state of single women in homeownership?
So in 2022, 58% of homes owned by unmarried Americans belong to single women.
Wow.
Now, that might sound like a lot,
It does sound like a lot, yeah.
and it is.
Yeah.
But back in 2000, that number was even higher. It was 64%.
Wow. So it's going down.
So we're definitely seeing that gap narrow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So why were single women so far ahead in the first place? Was it just that they were making more money?
You know, it's more nuanced than that.
Okay.
The edge single women, among older generations,
Yeah.
boils down to demographics
Okay.
and life expectancy.
Okay.
So traditionally, women have outlived men,
Right.
which leads to more single women in older age groups.
Right.
And those older age groups are just more likely to own homes in general.
Makes sense?
Right.
So it's like that saying, time is money, but in this case, it's like time is home ownership.
Exactly.
But you mentioned that younger single women actually have lower home ownership rates
Yes.
than younger single men.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
That's where the economics come into play.
Okay.
You know, we see progress and stuff, but the gender pay gap is still a thing.
Right.
In 2019, single women who were heads of their households only earned 88% of what single men who were heads of their households did.
Wow.
And there's a difference in median income for those households.
Okay.
For single women, it's $49,400
Okay.
versus $61,700 for single men.
Wow. Big difference.
Big difference, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's also a difference in overall household wealth.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, for younger single women,
Yeah.
climbing that home ownership ladder is steeper.
It's a much bigger hurdle.
It is a much bigger hurdle, yeah.
So it sounds like we've got like two separate narratives here.
Kinda, yeah.
One for the older generation,
Mm-hmm.
and then a totally different one for the younger generation.
Yes, definitely.
And is this shift in the homeownership gap? Because those lines are getting blurred a little bit.
Yes, exactly. The life expectancy gap between men and women is narrowing. So that means there are fewer differences in the numbers of single men and women in those older age brackets.
Makes sense.
In 2000, women made up 3/4 of single household heads aged 65 and older.
Wow.
By 2022, that was down to 2/3.
Wow.
So that shift alone really impacts those overall homeownership numbers.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge swing.
It is a huge swing, yeah.
Couldn't this also reflect like changing roles of women in society?
Oh, for sure.
It seems like more women are prioritizing their careers
Yeah,
and their financial independence these days.
absolutely.
So maybe that traditional age-based advantage
Right.
isn't going to be as significant in the future.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
You know, we can't ignore those societal shifts
Right.
that are happening
Yeah.
alongside these economic realities.
Right.
The data is interesting,
Yeah,
but it's really important to consider the why behind the numbers.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean for the future of homeownership?
Ooh, that is the question.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, will we see a complete reversal?
Right.
Are there other factors at play that we haven't even considered yet?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
It really makes you think about how all these things like gender roles,
Right.
economic realities,
Yeah.
even things like societal values are all going to shape what homeownership looks like in the future.
Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Well, this was super fascinating.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
I feel like I learned a lot.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see everybody next time.
See you later.